Tzu Chi volunteers send love to the affected herdsmen after a heavy snow disaster in Qinghai Province. A Vietnamese charitable foundation hosts a free clinic and aid distribution in Quang Nam Province. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Maggie Tai. Thank you for joining us. Sichuan and Qinghai Tzu Chi volunteers went to the heavy snow disaster-affected areas in Qinghai Province to assess the damage. At this high elevation, volunteers had to adjust to the high mountain climate as well as getting familiar with the herdsman's life. What's heartwarming is that many of them remembered Tzu Chi's love and kindness from 23 years ago. The road seems like an endless journey covered with snow. Still, Tzu Chi volunteers travel through the thick snow in the minus 10 degrees Celsius weather.
My
mother is 72 years old now. They've never seen snow like this. 9 out of 70 cows we owned had died. We bought grass and animal feed to keep them from dying. Without the shelter, they won't survive such a heavy snow.
It rains every day when it shouldn't, not just in the winter, but every season. However, when it's dry all season too. In 1993 and 1992, these 5 cows can produce about 15 kilograms of milk. But since the climate change, now it takes about 15 cows to produce the same amount of milk.
The environment in the high mountain is cold and they often encounter many natural disasters. However, these herdsmen always keep in mind that all lives are equal.
We make a living from them for our whole life. The cow is a living being, just like humans, so we can't kill them easily. Some asked him if he would sell his cows to people, and he rejected, because he has a connection with his cows.
Volunteers brought the historical documents of the snow disaster aids from 23 years ago. Residents have treasured the kindness in their hearts.
看这个怀师傅，您见过哈？您还记得他哈？
I've kept the aid supply card from you with me all the time. I won't lose it even until the day I pass away. We'll never forget your kindness and help.
He's feeling sad today and he wants to cry because most of his good friends all passed away. If they were still alive, they would all show you the aid supply cards they kept.
The love and warmth in the snowy weather has lasted for 23 years. Volunteers are hurrying to give out aid supplies this year, hoping to help these herdsmen get through the snow disaster. Africa was ravaged by Cyclone Idai, causing 3 countries to be severely affected and millions of people became homeless. Since Africa, Tzu Chi volunteers have already entered the hardest hit disaster areas. Various Tzu Chi hospitals in Taiwan held blessing ceremonies and cultivated people's compassion.
Staff and volunteers of the Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital used their lunch break to send blessings to the affected residents in Malawi, Zimbabwe, and Mozambique, which were ravaged by Cyclone Idai.
I'm in a very sad mood to come to cultivate compassion from all staff members and volunteers in our hospital. Over there, the number of volunteers is very small, and I know that Dharma Master Zheng Yan wants to help those people who are suffering. I believe that this time the Master will bring our love and future hopes to Africa.
At the same time, Tzu Chi hospitals in Taichung, Hualien, Dalian, and Douliu were also holding blessing ceremonies.
Africa represents the origin of all human beings and the cradle of human civilization. It is more representative of the gratitude that is expressed to reciprocate love.
Dharma Master Zheng Yan once again appealed to more people for help. Since Africa Tzu Chi volunteers had all pitched in to provide assistance, they need more resources.
It does not matter how much money we have donated. All Tzu Chi volunteers should work together to provide aid.
If people do not act according to the course of nature, nature must strike back against them. This disaster has inspired the kindness of our staff members. Besides, they have also realized that it is time for them to take action to prevent disasters. And the simplest way is to start with a vegetarian diet.
Embracing vegetarianism is one of the best ways to stop global warming. The video footage has inspired everyone's kindness.
I just saw disasters that took place in other countries, so I feel blessed that we were born in Taiwan.
Everyone carries out the acts of giving to help affected residents rebuild their homes as soon as possible.
The Qinghai Boat and Tzu Chi Education Mission also held blessing ceremonies to pray for Cyclone Idai affected areas, hoping to help the affected residents get back on their feet as soon as possible.
After Cyclone Idai, the girl in Mozambique dries her textbook in the sun, hoping she will be able to study again soon. Eastern Africa was struck by Cyclone Idai, affecting many people's lives. Teachers and students of Tzu Chi Education Mission pray piously for the affected residents, hoping they can get back on their feet as soon as possible.
In Africa, which is an impoverished country, students there have a very strong desire for education. This is worthwhile for our students to learn. We held a blessing ceremony during lunch break, hoping to comfort the affected residents of the 3 different countries in Africa.
一代弃选，目前死亡人数已经是732人，而且会再继续增加。
Tzu Chi always conducts charity missions in the front line. Dharma masters and staff members of the Qinghai abode also pray for peace and free of disasters.
These 3 countries are among the most impoverished countries in the world. Besides sending blessings to them, Tzu Chi also needs to take actions to help them.
By carrying out the acts of giving, everyone hopes to help affected residents through their hard times and ease their anxiety.
Tzu Chi's distribution of rice seeds in Myanmar ended in late February. In March, Tzu Chi volunteers came to Bago for a tea gathering, which was attended by nearly 200 people. The volunteers hope to extend the bond of goodness to invite more people to do good deeds.
After the rice seeds distributions were over in late February, Tzu Chi volunteers came back again in March to conduct a gathering, introducing Tzu Chi to more people and promoting vegetarianism.
Everyone should eat a vegetarian meal every day, every week to save the earth.
The manager of Agricultural Department goes on stage to perform with the volunteers. When Tzu Chi was holding distributions, she paid for the transportation fees to let the farmers come to receive the rice seeds. In addition, she supports Tzu Chi's concepts and mission.
We must get rid of greed, anger, and delusion through this kind of event. We must change the world with love, so our world will become peaceful. I also hope to inspire everyone to do good deeds.
Around 200 people have attended this tea gathering. The farmers also told everyone their reflections upon the distributions and also have brought their rice bags to the venue. The volunteers hope more people will join them to do good deeds.
Besides donation, we also saw the volunteers promoting vegetarianism. Everyone was helping each other, which made me want to give more love.
Tzu Chi volunteers study Buddhism very diligently, so I want to learn from them and make vows. This is my biggest reward from attending this tea gathering.
If everyone can give a little, the society can become more peaceful and harmonious.
Yuan Zhuozhou is blind and lives alone in a small house in Wuhan, Hubei Province. When it rains, his house will leak. The walls and the floor had all been damaged by water. Recently, Tzu Chi volunteers helped to renovate his house by paying for the construction materials, also soliciting furniture for him. The center of his bed has caved in, and he sleeps in it like a cradle or a hammock. He can't see anything in the house, so it's quite disorganized. Many female volunteers say they had money, so they came to clean up his house. We also began soliciting furniture. One female volunteer had a bed that was 90% new, and she had the complete bedding, so we moved them to his house. Volunteer Xiao fell down twice within half a year and broke her hands, so she can't move her hands. As for volunteer Dong, she had 5 fractures on her body. When we came to clean up Yuan's house, many volunteers also came to help. We told these 2 volunteers not to do it.
所以呢，就不要他们做。
我很感动，感动大家。
I'm very touched by all of you Tzu Chi volunteers for your help.
In Vietnam, the Minto Charitable Foundation's free clinic has entered its 16th year. Recently, the foundation held its first event in Quang Nam Province. Food was also provided at the venue. In addition, a local quilt factory owner donated 500 quilts to the event. Let's take a look.
The free clinic was held at an elementary school in Ai Nia town of Quang Nam Province, Vietnam. Before the event starts, many residents have already shown up at the venue.
For the first time in 16 years, the Minh Duc Charitable Foundation conducts a free clinic in Quang Nam Province.
As the weather is humid and hot, the volunteers have brought big fans to the venue. They also use cardboard to fan residents, hoping to cool them down. Sandwiches were also provided in case everyone got hungry while waiting.
We saw many residents have come to seek medical attention. Most of them didn't eat anything, so we prepared sandwiches for them, which was easy to make and convenient to bring.
The owner of a local quilt factory also donated 500 quilts to the free clinic. At first, the foundation wanted to buy the quilts from the owner, but she insists on giving them for free.
For 7 to 8 years, I have been following Master's footsteps to do good deeds. As you kept on doing it, you will realize that it's still not enough, and there are many things that I need to improve upon.
The Team Free Clinic in the remote area of Zhuolan, Miaoli is entering into its 14th year. The local physician, Dr. Tzu Chi, and his wife, a registered nurse, have been safeguarding the health of the mountainous area patients side by side since the very beginning.
This road has been traveled on dozens of times. Dr. Tzu Chi's relationships with his patients are just like interacting with family members. Joking with one another is all part of the fun. He is always patiently listening to the patient's health concerns and will always take the time to remind them what they need to pay attention to. Dr. Tzu Chi has been providing his services at the Zhuolan Free Clinic for 14 years already. Who is who in the area, what issues are they suffering from, he knows it all, like it's the back of his hand. There's a particular grandma that is always ecstatic when Dr. Zhou comes to visit.
Most of the elderly are suffering from chronic diseases, such as various degenerations of the bones and joints in their bodies. We can still help them in some ways to manage the symptoms.
Dr. Tzu Chi's wife, Yang Jingfeng, is a registered nurse. For the past few years, both husband and wife have been serving the remote area residents side by side. Carrying her baby grandson on her back, she's still determined to serve at the free clinic. The couple has stated that their mission to safeguard the health of the Zhuolan residents will forever continue on.
The law on domestic violence prevention has been promoted in Taiwan for 20 years. It's worth noting that Ministry of Health and Welfare statistics show that from 2005 to 2016, the ratio of male victims of domestic violence in Taiwan has grown from 17 to 28% in 10 years. Some believe the needs of male victims should be taken into effect of domestic violence prevention.
There may have been some signs before marriage. Maybe I didn't notice it. But after marriage, some serious physical violence occurred. For this reason, I applied for my first protective order.
In the process of requesting a protective order, what made him feel lonely and embarrassed was the prejudice against male victims.
Their response to me was exactly the same as they would ask a woman. For example, the most frequent question they would ask, "Are your children okay?" But the most frequently asked question for male victims under our social system is not to say that your child is safe. Is your injury okay? And do you need psychological counseling resources? At this time, male victims are often questioned about whether they have been unfaithful. They are even asked if they share in chores with their wives. Or are you making money and not taking home?
In order to stabilize his wife's emotions, Zhong took his family on vacation each week. After 7 years of marriage, he applied for 2 different protective orders. We can see the stabbing marks from this knife on the sofa. It's the result of the first emotional outburst from his wife after marriage.
She took the 2 big kitchen knives and tried to control where I was going. She also slashed at me when she was emotional. When the children are sleeping in the room, I would take them away quickly. In order to control where I was going, she even threatened to burn down the house.
Slashing and trying to behead someone while sleeping, along with bruises on the face, are all suspected of being inflicted by the mother. Domestic violence is something that can't be whitewashed. This domestic violence ruined the family. When his 7-year-old son began to violently confront his sister, Zhong decided he needed to take action.
I have been protecting my children for the past 7 years and wanted to accompany them and limit the damage. But my forbearance and tolerance to an adult's actions was in some way contributing to my children's violent actions.
如果你本身已经置身在暴力的情境当中的话，你可能真的需要帮助自己。
If you are already in a violent relationship, you may really need to find ways to help yourself. You really need resources to help you leave the violent environment. If you stay there forever, the physical and mental trauma can be very serious. There are 3 types of protective orders: emergency, temporary, and general protection orders. The applicant must submit a written request to the local court after the search for evidence. Social workers will assist the victim to apply for the protective order. The protective order not only limits the safe distance between the perpetrator and the victim, but also avoids causing further physical and psychological harm to the victim. It can also require the perpetrator to receive psychological treatment. In case the perpetrator does not comply with the protective order, they face criminal charges, including up to 3 years imprisonment.
In the domestic violence prevention law, if the perpetrator does not commit another crime, the protective order will automatically expire after 5 years. The record of the perpetrator will disappear. If he or she can't be educated or improved, civil law and charges of abuse can be used to appeal for a divorce.
According to statistics from the Department of Health and Welfare from 2005 to 2016, the ratio of male victims of domestic violence in Taiwan has grown from 17 to 28% in just 10 years. When domestic violence victims are no longer simply women, the domestic violence protection system needs to consider the needs of male victims in order to give hardworking men more support.
Some young reporters from Dasho Elementary School in Taichung visited the humanitarian Ecotech Pavilion to conduct interviews. During the process, they learned Tzu Chi's recycling concepts as well as methods to protect Mother Earth.
Everything young reporters see is new. As the humanitarian Ecotech Pavilion, they can find answers to their questions regarding environmental protection.
It is very thin, which is not like the original form of PET bottles. Before, I would discard the plastic bottle right after I finished drinking water, but now I know that I can recycle it after cleaning it.
Why can't PET bottles be made into fabric? I was wondering this question. Today I finally found the answer.
6 young reporters discussed what they were going to report, and the topic became clearer and clearer.
The reports said that using as much water as the size of a chopstick can save us a lot of water.
If many people do it with this amount, it will be even more different.
Visitors can not only enjoy beautiful flowers at the pavilion, but also gain a deeper understanding of environmental ecology.
This lets children know the issues faced by the planet Earth where we are living.
It was a little difficult to do at the beginning, but after I completed it, I felt more fulfilled.
I think this is not an easy job, but I feel blessed because I can experience it at a young age.
Young reporters learned a lot during the process of conducting interviews, and they found it is important to protect the environment.
When they saw something they did not really understand at the pavilion, they would pose questions. I think this is very meaningful.
Young reporters pose questions eagerly and take notes diligently. They have learned a lot by conducting interviews at the pavilion.
There's a place in Taipei where all the disposed equipment Tzu Chi volunteers collected from recycling stations or hospitals are gathered. A group of volunteers fix the equipment and give it to anyone who needs it. These repairing volunteers are not professionals, but they learn the skills from scratch so these unwanted equipment can become useful again.
These volunteers are focusing on fixing the oxygen machines so these machines can function again. These people are not professionals. They are actually volunteers from all walks of life. They can fix 7 to 8 machines a day now because they have learned everything from scratch.
In the beginning, I really knew not much about it. I could only fix 1/3, and I didn't know how to fix the remaining 2/3. Then I would go find information, so I was able to fix 1 blind spot, and then 2 blind spots, and right now I comprehend all the machinery and electronic principles.
Zheng Liwen retired because of stroke, and in the past, he had problems reaching the door of his house. To improve his life, he came here to start anew.
Last time I climbed 3 floors. At the beginning, I was scared of it, but as I walked slowly, I gradually forgot the pain, and now I am learning how to fix these machines.
This adjustable bed weighs 100 kilograms, so it is very difficult for 3 people to lift it. Without any break, the volunteers must move the bed to somewhere it is needed.
When someone needs this, he can get it immediately, and after he finishes using it, we can use it, and when we don't need it, it can be given to the next person. This is a very excellent way.
We have to thank these volunteers for making this abandoned equipment useful again. It can give immediate assistance to people who need it.
Tzu Chi continued to help empower students to pursue education in Bohol Island in the Philippines. This year, Tzu Chi invited local entrepreneurs and former academic scholarship recipients to share their success stories. I leave with these images and thank you for joining us.